Hello and welcome to Political Bazaar. It's 3:30 on April 11 and polling is going across 91 Lok Sabha seats. With me, I have Gaurav Chaudhary, the Deputy Executive Editor. Gaurav, in the morning when we spoke, we had talked about how polling percentage was picking up, but in the afternoon it seems to have dipped a bit.
Yeah, so since it's early summers, and generally the tendency has been in the early afternoon hours, polling actually plateaus, and that seems to be playing out now. The highest percentage or concentration of polling actually will take place in the last 2 hours, or even in fact in the last hour. Which is from 5 p.m. onwards to until 6. And the rule says that if anybody is standing in the queue at 6 o'clock, because technically you are allowed to vote only until 6 o'clock, but if you're standing in the queue and awaiting a chance, then you'll be allowed to vote.
You will be allowed to vote. Yeah. Okay, at 6 o'clock. Okay, fine. Just to give a couple of numbers, at 1 p.m., what the polling percentage in Nagaland, 57%, Uttarakhand, 41%, Arunachal, 41%, Tripura, 43%, Assam, 44%. It's interesting to actually see, in the morning we actually just missed upon on this point. There's an interesting contest which is happening in Nagpur, which is between Nitin Gadkari, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari and former BJP MP Nana Patole. How do you see this playing out?
Well, it's a bellwether seat for the BJP. Nitin Gadkari is being seen as one of the best performing ministers of this government, and not just by the government, but also by the opposition. He has come in for admiration both by Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi on several occasions. And also Nitin Gadkari has made some cryptic remarks over the last year or so about the government's performance, etc., etc.
Yes.
And also this is the RSS headquarters, Nagpur. But I don't think Nitin Gadkari probably will be edged out. There could be some competition because he's a former BJP MP, his competitor. But I think given the fact that there is a very strong BJP cadre presence in Nagpur, as well as the support of its ideological fount, I don't think Nitin Gadkari actually stands a chance of losing this.
Another report which has come in, and it's important because it's in the first phase itself. There have been multiple reports of violence.
Yes.
I'm just going to read out. BSF had to open fire in the air to actually disperse protesting crowds. This was in Kairana. 2 party workers, one a TDP and the other is a YSR Congress member, died after these 2 groups clashed. And an IED blast has been reported in Maharashtra. Now, how do you look at these instances of poll violence?
We'll need to see what the kind of incidents that take place in subsequent phases. Clearly, these are not good signs.
Yes.
And the Election Commission would like to hold the election, make the elections as violence-free as possible. As of now, these appear as scattered. I don't think there is a nationwide pattern yet. These appear scattered and are only concentrated in certain constituencies and in certain booths or localities of these constituencies. But we'll have to wait and see how this pattern plays out in the subsequent local.
In many ways, this actually justifies the Election Commission's decision to hold a 7-phase poll.
Absolutely, because the primary reason why, the reason India conducts multiple phases, elections in multiple phases, is that you have to move the security forces across the country, and they have to crisscross from, say, Gujarat to Arunachal Pradesh to Tamil Nadu to Kerala and back to Kashmir, and across all going through the entire
the rigmarole of the elections. Yes.
And they are tasked with the responsibility of moving from one constituency, one remote part of the country, to another constituency which could be 3,000 kilometers away. So and you need to give them time to move, because the mobilizing this kind of security apparatus always takes time. Even if you're moving them, say for instance, you're airlifting them, even that takes time. But in this case, they're not being airlifted. Most of them are moving around in trains and buses.
Another thing which we again have to talk about here is Sikkim. Sikkim is having its assembly polls as well, and Chamling is actually looking for a 6th term.
Yes.
How do you read the situation?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see if he ends up winning this. It'll be clearly the longest serving chief minister. But interestingly, much before the Congress made this promise of Nyaya scheme and came out with a promise to offer a minimum income support scheme of 72,000 rupees, it was first proposed in Sikkim and said that by 2020, I think the date that they gave, by 1 year after the elections, the government is in place, a minimum income support of a certain amount of money will be handed over as a state support scheme for those who live below a certain income threshold. So it's going to be interesting to see. A scheme obviously will be easy to administer because of population, and it'll the people, the beneficiaries also is going to be easy to identify. But in Sikkim also it's going to be interesting to see how Baichung Bhutia's party actually fares, because this is his first foray into home state politics.
Now, the next election, the second phase is happening on April 18th. 97 seats
Yes.
will be going to the polls. In the interim, you'll obviously see a lot of political activity happening. It's been reported even as, the polling was happening today. What do you think is, likely, or how do you see the week
So
ahead?
I expect the poll pitch from all sides of the political spectrum to become even more high octane.
It's going to be more shrill.
More shrill, more
Okay.
high octane, and as we get along to the last phase and get closer and closer to the last phase, it's going to get a little bit more personal. I think no leader is going to leave any stone unturned. And try and appeal to voters make themselves more appealing for voters. So this is going to, but it's also actually by the time we head into the third phase, we'll head into big summers.
Big sum.
And that is going to probably play a big role in the turnout of voters.
As Gaurav has said, the week ahead is going to get it's going to get shrill. Actually, attacks, counter attacks are going to get more louder. For all this action, stay tuned to moneycontrol.com.